All right, I'm going to get started on our last AutoCAD demo for this module, the auxiliary view module, and we're going to look at the last drawing in this set, which is the connecting bar. All right, the connecting bar is figure 7-53 on page 167 in your textbook. I have the assignment page up in front here. So let's just go through this real quickly so that we understand what's going on. You're going to draw a front and top view of this object, the connecting bar, including two partial auxiliary views. Okay, so let me be clear. The front and the top view are going to be full views. That is, we're not going to omit any lines or anything like that. But the auxiliary views, both of them are going to be partial auxiliary views. We are, however, going to omit fillets and rounds on this object. And that's because the fillets and rounds kind of adds an unnecessary complexity to it and makes the shape a little bit hard to define or to understand clearly. So we're just going to omit the fillets and rounds, and I'll show you what that means when we do the drawing. There is a figure in the textbook just above the figure of the connecting bar. It's called the drawing setup. And that drawing setup figure really shows you the orientation for the different views in the drawing. So that's a good thing to kind of pay attention to. This is a metric drawing, so you're going to start with the MVCC mechanical metric template. You're gonna follow the same guidelines as before: visible lines on the visible layer, center lines on the center layer, hidden lines on the hidden layer, all that stuff. Do not dimension it. We are not dimensioning this. You haven't learned how to dimension yet, so we're not going to dimension it. And then you're going to prepare it for plotting on at a scale of 1 to 1. So notice here, I'm not telling you what sheet size. What I'm saying is that I want it plotted 1 to 1, so you're going to have to figure out what sheet size is going to fit that. Okay. And then you're going to turn it in like before, printing it to a PDF and then submitting the PDF. Okay. So that's the assignment. Notice that this is a 20-point assignment. So I actually double the points for this one because this is probably one of the harder drawings that we do in the class. Okay. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take you through the drawing steps. This may take a couple, maybe even three presentations, 3 videos to go through this. Well, I'll have to see how this goes. So, I don't know whether it's going to be 1, 2, or 3, but, of course, I'll let you know. All right. So now let's look at the answer key first. Okay. So this is the answer key. All right. Now, I've kind of put these views a little bit closer together. So, so the spacing here you can see, and the spacing between this is not necessarily appropriate, right? It's not what it shows in the drawing setup. I'm just doing that to fit it all largely on in one drawing environment so that you can see that. So that's not really part of it. So a couple things here. You'll notice that the top view, we have these hidden lines because these are full views, not partial views, the top view here. We have elliptical holes hidden, partially hidden, right, in that. And that's part of the difficult bit. In the front view here, this is a little bit more, typical or not difficult to understand, I should say, with the holes there and the slot there. And then we have the partial view. So here's the partial view on the left. And notice that this is projected upwards. So this is a partial auxiliary view. And this is a partial view on the right, partial auxiliary view, and this one is projected downward. You'll also notice, this is very important, we have a line connecting the auxiliary view with the standard view or the regular view, and a line connecting these here. These are required as it shows in the CAD standard booklet. So, all right, so that's enough about the answer key. So let's get started with the actual drawing. So I'm going to go to Start and go to Template, and I want to start with a mechanical template. And here we are. So, so I think the best way to get started on this is in the front view, because that's really the one that is not kind of, you know, distorted or anything like that. So let's draw a line, and we'll draw kind of the box. Whoops, I don't have my orthographic on, so I'll turn. Actually, I'm going to turn that off, and I'll turn on. Yeah, 30, that's good. So we'll go like, oops, and why don't I have that on? So I want my projections on. Yeah, I got that on, so let's turn that on like that. There we go. All right, so let's go 3060. All right, so now we'll go, this is 28 deep, and we'll come across here, and I'm drawing the middle box, and that is 76, and we'll go 28 again, and then we'll close that. Okay. And now from here, we're gonna let's do the left-hand side. We're gonna offset down 6. Some of the dimensions on this are a little bit hard to identify. So, you know, I'm familiar with this drawing because I've drawn it so much. So you might take a little bit of time to kind of find some of the dimensions. So I'm not going to take that time. Otherwise, this video would be hours long. So I extend that and get that there. This doesn't go there. And then let's go, this is going to be 76 from the top. So we'll draw a line from here. And that's at an angle of 30 degrees. And I have my 30, 60, 90 polar tracking on. So that makes it nice. And I can just go at a 30-degree angle and I'll go 76, which is the length of that. Okay. And now, if I'm careful, I can go 90 degrees to that because which is 60 degrees relative to the horizontal. And the thickness of this is 16. So we'll go 16 down. And then we'll come back across and notice that catches it right there. So we got a little bit to trim. Okay. So far, so good. Now let's work on the other bit. Now, let me just make a note though. The dimension from this point to this point. Let me go. I'll show you the dimension from here to here is 6. Well, that's not giving me the what I want. Sorry. The dimension from here to here is 6 millimeters. Right. That's important to note because this is 16, so 6 and 16 is what? 22. This whole thing is 28, so that means that this is also 6 from here to here. All right. So this is symmetrically positioned across the height of the middle section. This on the right-hand side is not. Okay. So this is going to be 12 wide, and they do not give a position for this. So we're going to, actually we are going to center it across there. Okay. Because we're not given a position. So what we're going to do is we're going to go across, I'm going to project across here and come out a certain distance. Doesn't matter. And I'm going to offset this 12 and go down like that. Okay. Now, how do we know it's like that? Well, this is part of the tricky bit with this. We are not given a dimension for this dimension right here. We're not given this dimension on the right-hand side. Okay. In fact, we're not given any dimension for the location of the right-hand side of the object. Okay. Nor are we given a center mark to show that it's symmetrical or anything like that, or, evenly positioned. So the only thing we can infer is that it is in line with this. Okay. So understand that we have to position these lines somewhere. We have to position, in fact, this line somewhere. Since we're not told exactly where that is, and we're not given any indication about that, the only thing we can infer is that the 6 millimeters from the top here to this top surface is the same here. Okay. All right. That's enough of that. So let's go 20. So we're going to offset 20 from here to here. And here again, notice that the dimension for the right-hand side is measured, for this angled surface is measured from the bottom. So we have to take it from the bottom. So again, from this intersection, we need to go out 76 at an angle of 30. And then we go 12. And then we come down and we go to the intersection there. Okay. So that in and of itself is a little bit confusing. Okay. Right off the bat, we kind of are confronted with some issues, but that's basically what the front view is going to look like. Now let's go ahead and add in the center lines here. It's not really that difficult. So we can go offset 13 from here to here, and offset 50 from here to here. These two lines are going to be hidden. Okay. And then up here, we need the holes, and they're going to be hidden. So we're going to offset the centers first. So we'll offset 12 from here to here, and then 38. Now, these two lines represent the center lines of the holes, although we're not going to put them on the center layer yet because, it's just going to be, we're going to offset that right now, so I don't want to do that yet. And the diameter of these holes, all four of them, are diameter 14. So we're going to offset this line, offset 7, right, the radius, from here to here, and here to here, right? Now we can help our visualization a little bit more. I'll pick these lines that I just offset and we'll change those to the hidden layer. And again, I want to make sure that I remember that these are center lines, so I'm going to change those to the center line layer. I'm not going to bother with extending them yet, I just want a visual representation that those are the centers. And then finally over here we have the slot, which is 45 degrees from the front end, so we'll offset again 45. And then this is the center again. So the radius of that, it's a diameter 20 slot. So that means the radius is 10, offset 10. All right. And we'll get that. And we'll get this one. Okay. So now I know I'm going a little bit fast. I like I said, I don't want this video to be hours long. So I know I'm going fast, and I also know that you can stop it, you can rewind it. So you have control of the playback. So that's kind of why I'm going a little bit faster than I normally would if I was doing this in class. All right. So now let's look at the auxiliary views. Okay. Now, if I'm going by the drawing setup in the book on page 167, the auxiliary views are offset from the front view here by 25 millimeters. So that helps me out a lot getting started. So I can go ahead to the offset command and I can offset 25, and I'm just going to offset this incline line and this incline line, and that's going to get me started with these. Now, because these are partial auxiliary views, they're actually very simple, right? The width on this object is 50, or the width on the right-hand side, I should say, is 50. So I'm going to offset 50 like that, and then I can draw from here to here, from end to end, and again from end to end. Okay. So there we go. There's the auxiliary view of this surface right there. All right. Now the only thing I need to represent are the holes in this. So let's offset 12 and 12, and offset 38, and offset 26. And we'll draw a circle. This is a circle with a diameter of 4, so we'll do center diameter. We'll put one right in there. Diameter, I'm sorry, not 4, 14. And then here's, I don't think I've shown you this trick before. It's not really a trick. It's just kind of a shortcut. So I put the first circle in there. Now, to remember to get the previous command back, we hit Enter key or the space bar, right? So I hit space bar and it goes back to the circle command. And then it says specify the center point. And I'm going to pick the center right there. Click. And then the default diameter or radius is also reached by hitting the Enter key of the space bar here. So space bar. All right. So, whoops. Hey, where'd that? I lost that other line. Let me put that back in there. I don't know where that went. All right. So circle, pick, space bar, pick, space bar. All right. So give that a shot. I'll leave these lines in here. They're going to become center lines, but I'll just leave them in there just for reference sake. Now, no fillets and rounds on this, so that's all we really need on that, right? We're not going to add any fillets and rounds. You know, you'll notice that there would be fillets here and all over the place. I've drawn this figure with the fillets and rounds in it, and it is a god-awful mess. It's really challenging to draw with the fillets and rounds in there as it's described in the book. So there's a good reason why we're omitting those. All right, so now let's turn our attention to the left-hand side, and it's pretty much going to be the same thing. The width of this surface is 50 again, so we can draw from here to here. And now I'm going to draw here, even though that's not really going to be fully there. I need to draw a midline, so I'm going to use the midpoint, and I'm going to draw across here. And then the slot is a diameter 20, so I'm going to offset 10, like so. And then I'm going to project this point through, we can go right to there. Making sure that that's perpendicular. All right. Alternately, I could just offset this 45. So I could, if you don't want to do that, you can offset 45 and then offset that line out. Either way, it's the same thing. Okay. Now the circle here, we can draw the circle a number of different ways. You know, we could use the 2-point circle. I don't think we've used that yet. So we have one point here and the other point there. All right, nice and neat. And now we can trim some of this out. So far, so good. Now, we're not quite done yet. There is a curve on the end here, right? There is a curve on the end, which I do not count as a fillet or a round. Why? Because it's a rounded end. It's not taken care of with the fillet and round dimension R5 in your textbook. This is a radius 12. So this is different. So you will need to put this on here. So I go to the fillet command right here. The first thing I'm going to do is type R and hit enter and put in a fillet radius of 12. And then I'm going to pick these two lines. And then I can do the same thing again. So you'll notice this is much larger. So this does not count as one of the omitted fillets and rounds. Okay. And that's done. Now let me just, as a little bit of an aside, you know, notice on these two, I'm using this edge right there, the edge that I'm circling. I'm using that edge as the break line for the partial view. I'm using this edge as the break line for the partial view. What if I did not want to use that edge? What if there was not an edge? What if there was a curve going through here? You know, a nice gentle radius on that. How would I handle this? Well, here's how you would do this. All right. So let me show you a little bit of a trick. So first of all, we're going to draw a break line, which is a visible line. okay? But it's kind of a jagged line. It's randomly drawn. So here's what I usually do. I turn off my polar tracking, right? I turn off my polar tracking and I go just like this. Now notice I'm starting this a little bit high and past this line right here, right? And you'll see why. So I'm going to, this is just random break lines right there, like so, okay? And then I'm going to extend this through there, and I can trim that off right there. And then I can get rid of this because, you know, or maybe not even, you know, keep that in there. So there's one version of a break line. Another version of a break line, I'll show you how to draw a curved break line, okay? So again, we kind of do the same thing. I keep my polar tracking off because I don't want this, you know, the green dash lines to pop up all the time. But this time I'm going to do a polyline. I don't think we've talked about a polyline, but I'm going to do a polyline right here. Oh, excuse me, not a spline fit. Where's polyline? Oh, it's right there. Sorry, I'm looking right at it. Polyline right there. So I'm going to go like this. Again, just random lines. Go a little bit faster this time. Okay, and hit enter. Okay, and we start the same thing, or we do the same thing, trim this back. So far, so good. Now, however, with a polyline, polylines are able to be curved. So now I'm going to use the polyline edit command, which is this command right there, polyline edit, or we could type in p edit, right? So I'll choose this. And I'm going to pick this polyline, and I'm going to go to a fit curve or a spline curve. Now watch, when I do a fit curve, it looks like that. Yeah, that looks nasty. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to do a spline curve. Oh, much better. So I'm going to hit enter. And then if we want to tweak this a little bit more, which I usually do, because this is a little bit too, you know, straight, I guess. So we click on the line, and we have these inflection points that now we can kind of grab and, you know, alter the shape of it a little bit, and then we hit enter, and then there you go. So there's a break line. All right, so we have two versions of the break line, a jagged break line and a smooth curved break line, neither of which are required in this. They're not wrong, right? But they're not required. So I'm gonna actually get rid of these. all this hard work. Actually, I'll use undo because I think it'll be a little bit faster. There we go. Okay. So we got it like that. All right. So if you want to add them in there, that's fine. If you want to practice, that's fine. But they're not required. All right. So there's our partial auxiliary views. All right. Now, the top view is really the challenge in this case. So I think that's 23 minutes right there. So I think we're going to take a break. And then I'll come back in the second part and we'll tackle the top view up here. All right, so see you in part 2.